Dami-dami niya pong sinasabi. Bakit hindi niya nasabihin sa harap ko? Parinig pa siya ng parinig eh. Chapter Learning Objectives. After studying this chapter, you should be able to, number 1, describe the communication process. Explain the difference between one-way and two-way communication. The second one is identify barriers to effective communication and discuss the major communication skills used by managers. Third one, discuss communication media and describe the riches of each. Number 4, describe different forms of organizational communications. You should be able to learn this because otherwise, why are you still watching this?
The communication process. Communication, the transmission of information from one person to another to create shared understanding and feeling. Encoding, converting a thought, idea, or fact into a message composed of symbols, pictures, or words. Message, the encoded information. Channel, the medium used to send the message. Decoding, translating the message back into something that can be understood by the receiver. Feedback, a check on the success of the communication. Noise, anything in the blocks, distorts, or changes in any way the message sender intended to communicate. The communication process involves a number of steps. The process begins with encoding a message, then transmitting that message to a channel, and it then being decoded by the receiver. Feedback helps improve communication effectiveness, but on the other hand, noise can be blocked or distort it. Nonverbal communication. Communications that are not spoken or written but have a meaning to others. Body language. A body movement such as gestures or expressions that conveys information to others. Verbal intonation. The emphasis given to spoken words or phrases. One- and two-way communication. One- and two-way communication. One way. Information flows from sender to receiver. Two-way, information flows from sender to receiver and then feedback is given and received. Task interdependence. Needed when one person or unit is dependent on another person for resources or information to get work done. Pooled interdependence. Used when employees work independently and their output is combined into a group output. Sequential interdependence. Used when tasks must be done in a certain order. Reciprocal interdependence, used when constant communications and mutual adjustments are needed for a task completion.
Barriers to effective communication. First, selective perception. We selectively see and hear based on our expectations and beliefs. Misperception. Messages are not always decoded by the receiver in the way the sender intended. Filtering. Information is intentionally withheld, ignored, or distorted to influence the message that is ultimately received. Information overload. It is possible to have so much information that it's impossible to process all of it. Organizational barriers. A firm's hierarchical structure and culture can influence who is allowed to communicate what to whom and may limit how messages can be sent. Cultural barriers. Different national cultures have different ways of expressing things. Lastly, noise. Anything that blocks, distorts, or changes the message the sender intended to communicate. Next is communication skills. Skills to improve to overcome barriers to communication. First, active listening. Becoming actively involved in the process of listening to what others are saying and clarifying messages' meaning. Giving and receiving feedback. Feedback should be timely, frequent, consistent, specific, and private. Writing skills. Communication should have correct spelling, grammar, punctuation, style, and tone. Presentation skills. Be clear and enthusiastic. Develop rapport. Control body language. Be concise and organized. Reach the audience and with a bang. Meeting skills. Come prepared. Use an agenda. Be punctual. and have a clear purpose. Encourage participation. Tips for effective email. Using email effectively requires practice. These suggestions are useful ways to improve the quality and professionalism of email. First, deliver personal information in person or by telephone. Avoid unprofessional email addresses for business emails. Have 2 email accounts if necessary. Ensure that you are responding to every part of the email that warrants a response. Respond to emails quickly, preferably by the end of the same day. If you cannot do this, email the person to let them know that you received their email and cannot address their question right now, but you will get back to them soon with an answer. Next, read your emails once or twice before sending them to check for clarity and readability. Write concise and informative subject lines. For example, "We're meeting Wednesday at 9. Sends a message without the recipient even opening the email. Do not criticize orders via email. This can make them feel belittled and disrespected. And if others forward your email, you could quickly regret ever sending." Next, do not use your inbox as a folder. After reading an incoming item, answer immediately, delete it, or move it to a project-specific folder. Agree on company acronyms for subject lines, such as AR for action required or MFR for monthly financial report. This both saves time and prevents confusion. Send group mail only when useful to all recipients. Use reply all and CC sparingly. Use the out of office feature and voicemail messages to let people know when you may not be able to respond quickly. Before sending an attachment in a particular format, make sure the recipient can open it. Because they are slow to download, avoid sending large attachments and graphics, especially to people who are traveling, unless it is necessary. Post large attachments on a wiki or portal instead. Consolidate your messages in one organized email rather than sending one message per thought. Communication media. Internet and communication. Information pool occurs when someone receives requested information. Information push occurs when information is received that was not requested. Internet media include websites, video chats, podcasts, email, instant messaging. Telework, home-based telecommunicating, satellite offices, neighborhood work centers, and mobile work. Collaboration software, workflow automation systems, decision support systems.
Communication media. Intranets. Intranets give employees controlled access to shared information. Portals are similar to intranets but are more project-focused, used for sharing, scheduling, collaboration, databases, calendars, and other documents. Webcasts, live or pre-recorded video segments. Wikis, searchable, archivable websites that let people edit and comment on each other's work in real time. Blogs, chronicles of people's personal thoughts and interests. Oral communication, lowest possibility for miscommunication, important for building credibility and trust. Media richness, ability of media to carry nonverbal cues, provide rapid feedback, convey personality, and support natural language use. Depends on 4 things: interactivity or the availability of feedback, the ability to transmit multiple cues such as physical presence, voice inflection, nonverbal cues, and pictures. Language variety for conveying a broad set of concepts and ideas. Personal focus or the degree to which it allows the expression of emotions and other social cues. Next reporter. Ako'y tahimik lang sa umpisa. Kahit di mo pilitin.
Now, let's move on to organizational communication. Organizational communication is the exchange of messages between individuals who are related to each other in a certain context or environment with. with the aim of achieving both shared and individual objectives. Communication inside an organization is heavily influenced by context and culture. Within organization, people communicate using mediated and face-to-face channels. With an organization's communication amongst individuals working towards shared objectives is referred to as organizational communication. It is made up of the exchange that occur in order to collaborate on achieving these objectives or conduct business generally. Organization communication has 6 types of it. It can be formal, informal, downward, upward, horizontal, and diagonal. Formal is used as official organizational sanctioned communication. Informal is used as any communication not official. Next is downward. A higher level employee communicates to a lower level employee. Upward is used as a lower level employee communicates to a high level employee. Horizontal is used as an employee communicates with other at the same organizational level. And last is diagonal. It is used as employee communicate across department and level.
Communication paths in organizations. So, organizational communication can follow a variety of paths. So, we have illustration here. These paths can be downward, upward, horizontal, or diagonal. So, we have here in the upper is upward communication. In the middle, diagonal communication and downward communication. In the lower part, we have horizontal communication. Organizational behavior in action. So after reading this chapter, there are a lot of questions that you might be asking yourself. First one, what are your preferred methods of receiving information? Does your answer differ depending on the type of information being sent? What are some of the most common sources of noise when others try to talk to you? What can you do to reduce their effects? Lastly, if you are about to be fired, how would you want to hear the news? How would you least want to hear the news? And why? Guys, hindi naman kayo nakikinig. Charot. Alam ko nakikinig kayo. Kaya nga nanonood kayo eh. Alam mo, dito sa Kuto family, kahit naman nag-aaway-away kami or ang dami-dami nila sinasabi sa akin, magkakabati-bati din naman kami at hindi naman nila ako kaya, no? At ako nang bumubuhay dito sa Kuto family na to. Kung wala naman ako, wala din sila eh. Tsaka mas sikat ako kay mami, no? Ang pangalan, no? Hindi ko na maalala eh. Kasi hindi ko siya kilala. Kilala ko siya, pero sa sobrang sikat ko kasi, parang ito siya, ganun. Tapos, ayun, magkita-kita na lang ulit tayo sa next episode ng Kuto Family. Manood kayo kasi dito kami kumikita. Kung di kayo manonood, di wala na kaming kakainin. Yun lang. Bye.